Hello, everyone. So I was born in Longmont, Colorado. I actually went to college in Arizona, and I obtained my PhD in molecular genetics from the University of Texas. I've worked at some pretty awesome cancer centers, and I was a professor in New York City. But in 2012, I gave it all up because I want to be a hemp farmer. I moved back to Colorado, and I convinced my 97-year-old grandmother to vote yes on Amendment 64. Because when I showed her a picture of a hemp field, she said, "Grant, I remember that." Did you know that both Thomas Jefferson and George Washington grew industrial hemp? And the very first Federal Reserve notes in 1914 were printed 100% hemp paper. The back of the $10 bill even featured a hemp harvest. But what is industrial hemp? Well, like marijuana, it's a member of the species Cannabis sativa. But hemp is not marijuana, and marijuana is not hemp. How is that possible? Well, genetics, of course. Just like an Alaskan klekai, or a pug, or some random mutt are genotypically and phenotypically different, they are members of the same species. So too is industrial hemp and marijuana. Some strains of hemp grow short and produce lots of seeds, whereas some strains grow tall and are useful for its fiber. Marijuana, however, spends all of its energy producing that sticky icky that is that female bud. Hemp was so useful to the early Americans that in 1938, Popular Mechanics labeled it as the very first billion-dollar crop. But within a couple of years, it was illegal in every single state of the union. So why should you care? Well, first off, industrial hemp seeds have the perfect balance of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids and has been used in traditional Chinese medicine for thousands of years. Hemp seed oil has also been demonstrated to treat eczema, increase fingernail, hair, and skin quality, and is so resourceful throughout the world that in 2012, President Obama signed an executive order that labeled hemp as an essential and necessary food resource for the American public. 1 acre of hemp produces the same amount of paper as 4 acres of trees, but it's reproducible every single year. And 1 acre of hemp produces the same amount of ethanol as 2 acres of corn, but it never has a need to become a GMO crop. Henry Ford loved hemp so much that he built a car from hemp fiber that ran off of hemp ethanol. And he loved his product so much he used to hit his cars with an axe to demonstrate the strength and resilience of the hemp fiber. If you want to have an impact on global climate change, grow hemp. When mixed with lime, it creates a building substance called hempcrete that over time breathes in carbon dioxide, releases water, and mineralizes into stone. But is hemp legal? In Colorado, yes. 2 bills, 2 laws have now legalized and regulated the cultivation of industrial hemp. And thanks to Congressman Jared Polis, it's now legal on a federal level. So I needed to get seeds. I called people and I emailed people all over the globe, and I found lots of people who were willing to send me seeds, but they all said, "Grant, in order for us to send you seeds, we need you to acquire an import license first." So I call up the USDA. I say, "USDA, hemp's legal. How do I get seeds?" They tell me, "Well, all you have to do is fill out form PPQ 587, and we can't deny your application." So I jumped through their hoop. I filled out the form. I faxed it in. 10 days later, they denied my application. For no real rhyme or reason other than the fact that it's still labeled under the Controlled Substances Act. And Grant, you need to talk to Customs and Border Protection. So I called up Customs and Border Protection. And they passed me from one agent to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, until finally I reached the director of the Port of Denver. She did a little bit of research for me and said, "You know what, Grant? We didn't deny your application. It was actually the DEA." That's right, the good old bullies at the DEA. So I call up the DEA and I say, "Yo, DEA, WTF, son?" And they said, "We don't care what the law says. The law is what we say it is. And we're not going to allow industrial hemp in this country." So I ask you this. What do you think Thomas Jefferson would have done? Do you think he would have stood idly by and watched his freedoms be stripped by some overreaching governmental agency? Or do you think he would have stood up and said, "You know what? I'm getting my seeds. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm getting my seeds." I encourage every single one of you to fill out form PPQ 587, or better yet, Follow me and join me this summer as I travel Colorado collecting wild hemp plants and wild hemp seeds. Thank you.